Good morning, 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 everybody. Welcome to Dave TV for the 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm wearing I'm wearing green. Hi, Timothy. How you doing, everybody? There in Ireland. Let's see. So my family, if you trace it way back, it's England. Some Irish. I do have some Irish, but it's mainly Protestant Irish. And some Welsh, and some Scottish, and some German. That's so. Anyhow, happy St. Patrick's Day to you all. Here on DCRTV.com. This is Sunday the 17th. And since I didn't do a Dave TV yesterday, I thought we'd take a quick look at some of the media blogs. DCRTV. We're owned by Mediocre Bistro, not Media Bistro. Let's take a look at FishbowlDC, shall we? I think they had probably the best posting. I really think they had the best posting of the whole week here at FishbowlDC. If you want to look at media type postings, local media blog weenie postings, the best one here was hats off to Eddie Scarry, Scary Eddie. Whoa, let's see. Whoa, let's see. That's earthquake. Wait a minute. I'm trying to get the camera organized here. There we go. Erik Wemple takes a trip at CPAC. The bane of every reporter's Erik Wemple trips. He walked in a room and he tripped. Tripped over the cord protector. You know those little things they put at the bottom of the... that, I think, was the highlight of FishbowlDC. Let's see. It got no likes and 4 tweets and no shares on Google+. But that easily was the best posting of the week there on Fishbowl. The lonely, sad FishbowlDC. Who is this Peronimus? Nobody, look at it. Look at this guy. No likes, no tweets. I think that's really Betsy Rothstein just pretending. Yeah. Yeah, but when you have a $2 million libel suit, defamation suit hanging over your head, it must be fun. So there, Mediocre Bistro. Speaking of Erik Wemple, let's see. Where's my link? Let's see. Erik Wemple and his temple. Yeah. Oh, here he got one. He got 185 comments for writing about Ed Schultz. You know, Ed Schultz had that evening show there on MSNBC. Now he's getting moved to weekends. Well, everybody sees that as a demotion. You know, Ed's, who watches MSNBC on the weekends? Nobody does. And it's clearly a demotion, but to pretend it's like a promotion is ridiculous. Erik went on there and I very properly kind of did that. Got some quotes there. But again, most of, here we got it. Yeah, another 632 comments for more on the show. So Erik Wemple Temple owes a huge debt of gratitude to Ed Schultz this week for getting him a little bit of traffic there. Otherwise, most of these posts here, 3 comments, 20 comments, Steve Ducey. Oh, you can only get 25 comments with the Steve Ducey one. Dick Morris, 20 comments. Tucker Carlson. Oh, some people wonder, Tucker. I love how Tucker Carlson calls into WMAL. I think he calls in on Mondays or something. And he must use the crappiest cell phone you could possibly imagine. You think Tucker Carlson, he lives here in Washington. You think on Mondays he could swing by Jennifer Street there, a couple of blocks from his home, and do the damn WMAL thing in person, live in studio. Nobody has to talk on this crappy cell phone. I mean, what an idiot. What an idiot. Speaking of idiots, WMAL, man, you know, they were at, whatever, they were at CPAC 2 days, and you could hardly tell. It sounded like they were doing the show in the studio. Chris Plant's there, I guess, you know, right there in the, you know, the hallway there at CPAC, doing his, you know, stupid little kind of basement shtick that he does there at WMAL. I'm wondering, you know, here's a station that's trying desperately to be relevant. I mean, they just get hyped up the kazoo and they get a dredgling. We're relevant! You know, and I don't know, man. They should have really hyped it up and had a little bit of fun with the CPAC thing, you know? And just, I don't know. And that whole thing with Bill Bowling, you know, Bill Bowling he's currently the lieutenant governor in Virginia, and he's a Republican, and he's kind of a moderate, and he's having that feud with Cuccinelli, and they're all debating about who's going to run for governor, and Bowling threatened to run as an independent, and then he decides not to. Well, WMAL really crucified Bill Bowling a couple weeks ago when he was even thinking about running against their god Cuccinelli. And then when Bill Bowling pulled out last week, WMAL's morning show, they kind of did a self-righteous little like, well, see, we told you so. You should have pulled out. And they kind of did this kind of backslapping Bill Bowling like, well, we're glad you finally saw our way of things. You know, WMAL, they're a little too strident and I don't know, man. The show, it just has it's just, there's something wrong with it. They need to be having a little more fun with it. You know, I don't know. It's just, you know, when they're at CPAC, it's just they don't take advantage of it, and the show's missed a lot. I think, you know, of the element. What am I talking about? I'm supposed to be talking about blogs. Well, I'll talk about, you know, television and radio too. What the heck? Let's see what David Zurawik did. What kind of fascinating stuff David Zurawik. David Zurawik, he talks to Jake Tapper 2 days ago. This story got posted about David Zurawik. Z on TV talks to Jake Tapper. How many comments has he gotten? 1, 2. Hey. Okay, Dave did get a 117 comments when he talked about Dick Cheney. Dishonest, defiant, and then some to the end in a Showtime documentary. So Dave should send a little card to Dick Cheney thanking him for some traffic. Otherwise, most of Dave's things, History Channel, on the Bible, 3 comments, another one, 16 comments, the thing on Barry Levinson, you know, HBO, 2 comments, 8 comments on Jimmy Fallon to late night. The poor old Baltimore Sun. You know, the rumor is now that those billionaire right-winger Koch brothers, K-O-C-H, Koch, I think it's Koch brothers, are going to be maybe buying Tribunes, all of their newspapers, including the Baltimore Sun. So it's going to be real interesting to see what happens at that Baltimore Sun if they get bought by a real arch right-wing group. Isn't that going to be fascinating? Stay tuned for that. Okay, Capital Weather Gang. I'll tell you, there's a slight chance of a few snow flurries like Sunday night, Monday morning, and they just have to keep hyping and hyping and hyping and hyping it and hyping it. The Capital Weather Hype Gang. They're still trying to get over that giant screw up there when they predicted that giant snow a couple weeks ago, and it didn't hit much of the Washington area. I don't know. What do you expect from the Washington Post? And damn it, where's my ombudsman? It's Sunday. There's no ombudsman column. I really miss Patrick Paxton. Excuse me. How soon we forget. Patrick Paxton picked a peck of pickled peppers. Then how many pickled peppers did Patrick Paxton pick? Don't know. What else is going on? No, that's about it. A very slow week. Last week was a rather slow week. A Hearst documentary is playing down at the Newsium. I played yesterday. I don't know. It'd be nice if they run that on one of the public television stations now, wouldn't it? William Randolph Hearst. And I didn't know that, but Channel 11 WBAL was like one of his very first television properties. And, of course, the Hearst Company still owns it. You have to wonder. Be interesting to take a look at some like media properties, like television stations and even radio stations, and see who has the longest ownership, continuous ownership. I would imagine some of the network TV stations, like Channel 4. Channel 4 has, here in Washington, has been owned by NBC forever, since it started, right? Or just about. So I would have to say, if you look at the TV stations, all the other TV stations in Washington have changed ownership. I mean, Channel 5 used to be a Metro Media station, became a Fox station in the 80s. Channel 7 used to be the Washington Star. Albritton brought it in the 70s. So, and then Channel 9, of course, was the old Washington Post owned that. And then the Detroit News owned it for a while, and then it got owned by Gannett. I went to Gannett by that in the early 90s, something like that. But Channel 4 has been NBC, RCA. But now you can say, well, NBC got bought by Comcast, but still it's the same company, right? Companies do change ownership, but the station itself has always been owned by NBC. So I guess if you have to look at that, we'd have to say that Channel 4, at least in Washington, would have the same continuous ownership. Now, Baltimore, Hearst. Hearst has owned Channel 11 as far back as I can remember now. Channel 13 used to be Westinghouse, and then that got bought out, the whole CBS merger there. So that you could argue is a continuous ownership thing, CBS Westinghouse, because they did become one big company. But I don't know. Channel 2. That used to be owned by one of the Baltimore newspapers, right? And then I don't know when Scripps bought that, but Sinclair has owned 45 for a good long time. Not sure. Yeah, but probably since they started the station. That was probably one of, if not Sinclair's first station in the whole country, probably, because that's, Baltimore. I remember watching Channel 45 when I was a kid back in the 70s, and it was a Sinclair station, so it goes back a ways. But I don't think Channel 45 goes back much before 1970, right? Those UHFers, a lot of them didn't start till the late 60s, so not like Channel 4, which goes way back. All right, folks, I'm rather blabbering on. Thanks for watching Dave TV for the 17th of September, the 17th of March. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And we're in the green camo shorts. They're magically delicious.